This month I have a new free quilt block for you under the theme of family. This is a 12-inch finished quilt block and it is a Family Crest. I thought this would be a super simple quilt block to make, and you can personalize it however you want. You can use fabrics that have meaning for you, so different animals for part of your family crest or different sewing designs, completely up to you. I just went with simple solids for this one. The only part that I think anyone might look at for this block and think, ooh, that's gonna be a little tricky, is these curves. Because for some reason, a lot of quilters have had somewhere in their life someone say, oh, curves are tricky. And really, they're not that tricky. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how easy it is to make curves so that you can make this block as well as so many other blocks that use simple curves in their block construction. Down below in the description of this video, I do have a link where you can download this free pattern as well as all kinds of other information. So always make sure you check that description box down below. The first thing that we've done is we've cut our pieces. There's a template for these pieces in the free pattern, and that template includes a seam allowance, so all you have to do is print and then cut. This piece, the background piece, is a mirror image. You want to make sure that if you have fabric that isn't a solid, that is a print, so it has a right side up and a right side down, that you either cut both pieces when they're together so that you get a right side up and a right side up like that, or that you flip your template when you cut the second piece. So we have our two pieces, and now we just want to make sure that we put our blue in the correct spot and our red in the correct spot. Right? So that's how we're going to want these pieces. If you mix up your blue and your red, it's really not a problem as long as this fabric isn't directional. That means it doesn't have an up or a down, because if you were to switch these, no big deal, just flip this piece over. So for this one, it doesn't really matter, but we'll go ahead and do it this way anyway. So there we go. We have our pieces laid out the way we want them, and now we need to stitch the curves together. The first thing that you're going to note is that these curves, they don't go together automatically. You can see that this curve here is smaller than this curve here. It looks like it doesn't fit, and it's not supposed to. Now, one thing, you do want to make sure that when you have printed out your templates, there should be a little 1-inch grid square on there, and you take that 1-inch grid square and you use a ruler right on there to make sure that it is 1 inch, and that way you know that your templates are the correct size. So now we have this all laid out, and we're going to sew. And all you're going to do is you're going to leave this one right side up, flip this one so they're now right sides together, and you're going to line up this top edge right here. And you're going to start sewing. And what you're going to do as you sew is you're going to move this outer piece so that the spot where your needle is hitting is always a 1/4 inch away from the two edges, and the two edges are lining up where the needle hits. So I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine and show you exactly what that looks like. Okay, we were taking this over to the sewing machine, and we have our 1/4 inch foot installed. And we're going to put our presser foot down. And our goal is to move this top fabric over the bottom fabric along that curve as we're sewing. And so when you first do this, go really slow. It's totally okay. We're going to start with a couple stitches. And now we're going to start just adjusting this fabric. You want to make sure that you don't give yourself a pucker. Now, some people, when they do this, they choose to use a ton of pins, and I find that pins end up being pivot points, and they give me more puckers than if I do it this way. If you feel like you're getting off track, just lift up your presser foot, line everything back up, and bring it back down. There we go. Needle up, presser foot up, and cut your threads. Now if you've done everything exactly right everything will line up perfect. It's pretty rare to get it perfect exactly right, so you may need to square up this piece when you're done, and that's totally fine. We're going to take this over to our pressing mat, and right side down, we're just going to press this out. And there I can see a couple places where I have folds, but I have no actual puckers in here, which is perfect. My next step will be to square this up. For this block, it is 6.5 inches this way and 5.5 inches this way. So I can just use a ruler and square that up and make my second block, put those together. And then it's a pretty simple process to go ahead and put the whole block together like that. So I would put these two pieces together. I've already sewn these, and then I would sew these three together. Pretty simple. So that's how easy it is to sew a super simple curve. The smaller and tighter these curves get, the more you might need to fuss with it underneath the sewing machine, but really curves are nothing to be scared of and no big deal at all. And if you do get any kinds of creases or puckers along here, don't worry, it'll all quilt out. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below, and make sure you're subscribed to this channel. I have so much more quilting awesomeness coming your way. So I'll see you right here real soon. Bye, friends.